got a dream and it's all I see. I got my team and it's all I need. I see them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me. See them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me.
I see 'em hating and it's fine by me. Got a dream and it's all I see. Got my team and it's all I need. See 'em hating and it's fine by me.
It's fine by me. Yeah, haters know I get a lot of.
Wait,
Hold up.
shit,
Haters know I got a lot of.
Wait.
Hold up.
shit.
Haters mad cause they get nada. Got a lot of dollars, look like I just hit the lotto. Rich. Pop my collar, looking like a baller. Take shots like revolver, but the stroke so Arnold Palmer. Don't tell me act right, I be in my bag like I be in the fast life. Blow money like a bagpipe. And it's all I see. I got my team and it's all I need. I see them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me. See them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me.
I see 'em hating and it's fine by me. Got a dream and it's all I see. Got my team and it's all I need. See 'em hating and it's fine by me.
It's fine by me.
Boy, it's only buckets where I'm at, where I'm from. They don't tuck it, they just shoot big buckets through the gap. You be sluggish at the bat, I be Kirby Puckett. Sticking House of Moan Brown, stuck it to the mat. Magic fingers, like I'm Stephon Diggs. I don't like my coffee black, I like it Tayshaun Prince. Hold on to the balls, just like Marshawn Lynch. In the whip, you ain't like the
I got a dream and it's all I see. I got my team and it's all I need. I see them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me. See them hating and it's fine by me. Fine by me.
I see 'em hating and it's fine by me. Got a dream and it's all I see. Got my team and it's all I need. See 'em hating and it's fine by me.
Yeah. No, when like with my fingers. I'm off.
What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode of the GhettoRig podcast, episode 189. For those who don't know, my name is Eddie. Over there, I got my co-host Jay on the far left. Behind the cameras today, Miggy. Cool thing today, actually, it's Miguel's birthday later tonight. So happy birthday to Mr. Miguel. And we have a really cool guest on today, guys. Before I forget, though, I'm going to mention our sponsors, the UFC Gym Largo, Pinellas Park, Vitality Wellness Centers. Go check those things out, guys. Links in the description. Part of the UFC Gym Largo team is here today with us right now, Mr. Adam Mason. Welcome to the GhettoRig podcast. Appreciate you for coming in.
Fake claps. We gotta get like a fake clap sound effect.
Fake clap sound effect, make it look like a live audience, like a old 80s, 90s sitcom. Like, so yeah, we
The
got Adam
signs out
Mason
there that says
in.
clap, and you know the whole 9 yards.
That'd be
The
kind
sign
of
comes on and says clap when the audience gets to clap because they don't know when to clap. You know, won't laugh. You know.
I actually saw that the other day for Formula One. They're doing all the filming for that new Formula One movie coming out, and when they have Brad Pitt like doing scenes at the race in Las Vegas, and I think in Sao Paulo as well, if I'm not mistaken, and they were literally was a guy running around going cheer and like ooh and ah, like telling all the people in the crowd, because it was like actual people that were watching F1 that were doing the background
Oh
noises.
shit! Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's like posting it on their Instagram and shit like that. Like everyone knows the scenes now. Like what's happening. It's hilarious. But Adam Mason in the house. So Adam, you've got some cool stuff to tell us about, I'm sure.
Well, we
but-
know Adam. Would you mind introducing yourself?
What's up, guys? I'm the coach over at the UFC Gym Largo. They kidnapped me. They told me to come here. No, I appreciate you guys inviting me on. Yeah, I came over from San Diego. I coached there for 15 years at a gym called Victory MMA. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 30 years. OC gave me a call one day when I was out there and said, I'm opening a gym. Do you want to come out and coach? And I was like, yeah, I'm coaching out here. And I'll just come check it out. And it was the craziest thing ever. I landed in the plane to just come check it out. And Brian lives here, and known Brian for 12 years. And I look at my phone, and there's like 100 missed calls and text messages. It's like, are you okay? The gym burned down.
Oh
like,
shit.
The day I landed.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever you believe in, like the universe was like, come out to Florida.
But by the gym he means victory, not
yeah,
the
no,
UFC gym.
no, thank God, UFC's not going anywhere. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like it was like fate. So I've been here for like 6 months now. Florida's nice. I like it.
Unofficially, Adam was involved in the fire. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
joking.
yeah.
This is a joke.
Joking.
That's not a good joke, Jay. So the UFC gym. How have you liked the UFC gym platform compared to like traditional jiu-jitsu? I mean, what you've been doing over in Victor MMA. I mean, I don't know if that was a traditional jiu-jitsu school, but
We were a little laid back. Like
yeah.
yeah, I came from a traditional school. If you were late, they just send you home. Like,
yeah.
stuff like that, like pretty strict. And Victory is more relaxed. So I'm kind of both worlds. I like try to keep it both. Especially I grew up in like martial arts. I try to keep it traditional. The whole discipline thing. But yeah, I mean it's laid back, and they give me good freedom to kind of do what I want and teach how I want. So I appreciate that.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Where did your jiu-jitsu journey start? I mean, like you said 30 years ago. So I mean, it's been a long time since the beginning of that journey, but where did that journey start?
Yeah, well, 27 years, but I was 13 years old and I got in a fight. And I've been doing taekwondo for 3 years. So I was like the baddest dude on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had like my green belt. But I got in a fight with this wrestler kid and he just took me down to the ground. Like there was nothing I could do. He like snapped me down and there's nothing I could do. And I was like, I got to learn how to fight in the ground. And my brother told me about this guy. He called him Royce Gracie.
Yeah.
And I watched him in like the first 3 UFCs. This is like 1998. And I was like, this is for me. Because I always wanted to learn how to like defend myself. I'm very not confrontational. But I always wanted to I always liked martial arts. And I wanted to like know the most effective way to be able to defend myself. And I always had this weird like phobia of punching someone. It was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like doing boxing. But if I hit someone, I always thought like, well, what if I kill the person? Or what if I hit them as hard as I can and they don't go down? Like, what do I do then? And then I found jiu-jitsu, and like the first thing I learned, it was just like a simple takedown, control them on the ground, and choke. And I was like, this is for me. Like I fell in love right away. It was just so simple, and I was like, I could do this to anybody. If they don't know what they're doing, like I felt like I could do it to anybody, and I just stuck with it. And then it got like real big. I didn't expect it to get so big. Everybody talks about it now. It seems like all the big podcasts are talking about it, but I just always enjoyed it. Yeah, I fell in love right away.
What was the name of the first school you went to?
The Yamasaki school. Shout out to Yamasaki Jiu-Jitsu.
Was it traditional jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's very small. Yeah, it was actually in like a small gym called Ninja Karate Academy.
Okay.
And back then it was hard to find a black belt. You couldn't like finding a black belt, especially in like that area. They like didn't exist. They were like in California and Brazil. Yeah,
Where was this area?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Atlantic City, and blue belt from Yamasaki, and a blue belt back then was like a black belt today. You were like, wow, like he knew so much more than everyone.
Yeah.
And it was like magic powers they had, and like yeah, and we just did our thing there, and we would go down to Master Fernando's to get promoted, but we were training all the time. We were training in his basement. We were training at that gym, and this is all jiu-jitsu is very new, still like in the States. But
And this was gi, right?
yeah, we had to just do gi.
Yeah,
wasn't
only
even
gi
no
at
gi.
that time, right?
Yeah, we didn't have no gi. I didn't start no gi until I went to American Top Team. Yeah, that's when I got into no gi.
And when was that?
Jeez, that's when I went to law school. This is still 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained a Top Team for 3 years.
I was just a wee boy at the time.
Yeah, we messed around with it a little bit. We called it Valley Tudo.
Yeah.
When we were doing no gi, but it's actually like lucha libre is like
Yeah.
no gi for Brazil, but
Right.
we usually call it Vale Tudo, and
Yeah.
we were doing nogi.
He's been
It's-
training for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Master Fernando.
No, you.
Oh,
You've
me?
been training
Oh,
for
yeah,
longer than
yeah.
I've been alive.
It's like, damn, old.
It's funny. Vale Tudo actually kind of just translates to everything goes.
Yeah, everything goes. Yeah, like no holds
Everything
barred.
goes.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
What do you mean, like nutshot?
Everything
still?
goes.
Everything.
That's literally like
No.
the Vale
Mhm.
todo, which would be the Spanish translation, but they call it Vale tudo in
Portuguese?
Portuguese, right?
Mhm.
But Vale todo just literally means
Vale todo, yeah, everything goes.
everything counts.
Yeah.
Really, but it's almost a way of saying everything goes. Yeah. So yeah, whatever you want.
Well, it's gotten big because what's his name? Like, even Huberman went and did a jujitsu class with what's his name? What's the other big podcast?
Lex Friedman.
Lex Friedman. He
Mhm.
did that. Now Zuckerberg is into it.
Yeah.
This shit even made it down to the when they're doing the Venom 2, I think, when they're talking to Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, I think, is a
Tom
brown
Tom
belt
Hardy.
now.
Mhm. A lot
Yeah.
of celebrities. It's so funny because
And,
I was
yeah.
in law school, and one of the first things they told you was like, you guys better learn how to golf, because you're gonna be taking the judge out to golf, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, maybe now the
Nothing against
now the
golf.
judge.
And
They
now,
might
like,
do
you never
jujitsu.
know. Like, oh, you train? Like, so many people do it
Yeah.
now. Like, the gym is just like, I mean, it's all walks of life. There's janitors rolling with doctors and freaking astronauts in there. You never know who's gonna be there. It's very universal.
Yeah.
Which wasn't like that before with the sport like jujitsu. Maybe with a boxing class, right?
Yeah.
But jujitsu, not necessarily that you would have that diversity in there. Just everyone's about it now, and like you said, like he was saying, celebrities are hopping on it. I think it's proven to be like the most dominant martial art when the UFC started. I mean, nowadays, right? You see
Like, you need
the evolution of what is an MMA fighter, right? You can't just have only jujitsu,
Mhm.
right? But
I would still arguably
you definitely need it.
No.
I would still argue that in a controlled environment, jiu-jitsu is probably the most dominant martial art in a controlled environment.
Yeah, I mean,
If it's on the street, I'd say yeah, go the boxing or kickboxing route. But in a controlled environment, I don't think anything can even come close to someone.
if you're talking about like strictly specialist, right? Like you put a boxer against a professional boxer, right, against a black belt, it's not gonna last very long until he closes that distance and
Mhm.
it
When you
goes
saw
to
that, watch the
jujitsu.
when the first like few UFCs came out, it was very just specialized. It was just
Yeah.
boxing versus Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Muay Thai versus Jiu-Jitsu. And I mean, you saw the Jiu-Jitsu guys, like I mean, there wasn't many, but Royce was just, he would take people down pretty easily and just, it wouldn't last very long.
Yeah.
And like for me, it's like, and Jocko would say this, okay, like say you punch someone, right? What's the one good outcome? Is they go down, you win the fight, nobody really gets hurt, they wake up, you want, but like there's so many bad things that could happen. You punch someone in the face, like you break your hand, they really get hurt, you get sued. Like there's so many bad outcomes punching someone in the face.
Or you can just put him to sleep.
Yeah, they'll wake up.
They'll wake up.
Draw on them a little bit.
She's gonna wake up to someone shaking their legs.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you good? You good? And be like, whoa, I feel like I just took drugs. Like I feel like I'm off something.
I always bring smelling salts out with me. That's not true.
I remember, like recently, this clip blew up of this big, like 6'3" black dude, right, and this small white kid, and the guy that's recording is like, "I told you not to mess with him, man. He trains every day,"
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
really?
he ends up choking him out, right? And it's funny. Right after he chokes him out, he does exactly that. He sets him down nice and gently,
Mhm.
and he wakes him up.
It's very controlled. That's what I loved about it. It was like, even just the controlling positions. It's just like, you can win a fight like that. You don't have to throw one punch. You know, you control someone. I used to do security, and like, they loved me because they didn't think about they'd have a lawsuit in their hands. Like, they
Yeah.
knew I wasn't going to punch someone or like hurt someone. Like, they'd see me just control people. Like, hey, stop. Like, they love that. And I actually did like seminars for security guards in San Diego, showing like how to get people out, like being nice, like, and then how to control if they're not listening. You know, you don't have to just punch, because you start punching someone, they're gonna start punching back.
Well, you were a bouncer for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and you today in the class you even mentioned, you would just put them in a
Gift wrap.
gift wrap.
Mhm.
To explain what gift wrap is, you basically pull someone's arm behind you and then you grab this arm and they can't really do anything.
It's
They
like
just bring
straight
you-
jacketing someone.
Yeah, straight
Yeah,
jacking.
pretty much. Yeah, you can't roll either way.
Yeah.
And they would just like settle down. It's kind of funny.
I mean, there's a realization that eventually sets in of I can't do
Yeah,
anything,
totally.
right? And that's usually when they start pleading. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, totally. It's a different feeling.
Let
Like,
me
just
go,
to be like held
man.
like that, you're like, shit, this is just gonna get worse.
Yeah, it's almost like quicksand. Just keep struggling. It's just gonna get worse.
Yeah, totally.
So
One of the things that actually like piqued my curiosity for jiu-jitsu was that as a younger guy but being a bigger guy, I was able to hold on to people, so I kind of enjoyed that.
Mhm.
But I didn't like hurting people either.
Yeah.
So throwing that punch, the consequences of throwing that punch, I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather just do jiu-jitsu. That's kind of one of the things.
There's a documentary. It's called like One Punch for Life. I forgot the name of it, but it's all about those people who just hit someone on a random drunk night,
yeah,
and now they're in prison for life. And it's crazy.
I've seen videos like those by one of the major YouTubers like Jubilee or Cut. They make videos like that and they bring people from all walks of life, and they brought some people over that had killed some people, and one of the people had killed someone at a bar fight,
Mm-hmm.
and he spoke on it. I was like, yeah, it's like really not worth it to deal with none of
Mhm.
that. It's just better to just walk away or put somebody to sleep.
Well, then that's gonna happen. I mean, I think I saw an Instagram reel, and it was the football game or something like that, some sort of sporting event. And there's this guy, like, he looks Hispanic, and he's kind of a little bit lower, and the other guy's like standing on a step higher, and the other guy that's on a higher step is just like getting at him, and this guy just kind of listening, blah blah blah. And his friend comes around, just kind of like pushes that guy away, the Hispanic guy away. They're just kind of still there, and then he walks away, and then the scene cuts and goes, "You have no idea who you just talked to," and he's like a boxing champion. You know what I mean? Like it would have been a 1-2 down. You know what I mean? Not even probably 1-2 down. It would just been one and done, right? Like a lot of times, I think that's what happens. Like I'll be walking, and people will like just, how people are, get drunk, and then they'll try to do something, and and I'm like, yeah, okay, bro, you got this. You won. Just keep going. Like, 'cause
Totally.
you like,
You build that confidence.
yeah, like
don't
I
have to.
know what I can do, and there's no point of like proving it to anyone.
I was gonna say that most of the time, people that become martial artists in any form or factor, doesn't have to be jujitsu, are the people that usually don't get into fights.
Yeah, and it's not like, to me, it's not even the idea that like, I know this move, I'll do this move, or that move. It's not even that. It's like I do this on every day. Like my adrenaline levels don't spike anymore. Like I feel comfortable. I breathe nice. Like I have a clear head. Like no matter what happens, I know it's just not gonna spike my blood pressure. It's not gonna spike any of that stuff. So it's just a different feeling. Like I don't know how to describe it.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's
So
definitely different for people that don't train because they don't get that adrenaline rush every day. They don't know what it's like when they enter into that fight or flight mode. They don't know what to do.
yeah.
They fear for their life.
I mean, first couple of times, I haven't had that happen to me, but I've gotten super close. Like first couple of times when you start doing this, and when I first got into it, like get to the point of like, oh shit, I'm sick, I'm about to throw up. So I had to like really like concentrate and hold that puke in, not to not to throw up because of the adrenaline dump.
Miggy's lost that battle a couple of times
Yeah.
on the mat.
I'll lose that
But-
very often.
Yeah,
I'm
on the mat.
very susceptible to puking, especially
Yeah, but-
under heavy loads.
It hasn't, but what I've noticed, it happened in the beginning. It hasn't happened in a while for him.
Yeah,
I
only when
haven't-
we
that's
trained at
because I
Ozzy's
haven't
house.
gone
Long
in a
time
while.
No, you haven't gone in a while, but the past couple of times you have gone, that shit doesn't happen. Like you get your levels up, but like your body is able to handle it now, because your stomach has gotten stronger, basically, right? Like your body is dealing with the fucking high levels of adrenaline at this point.
I just call it strategically timing my rounds.
Yeah, I gotta go puke.
So your jiu-jitsu journey started in New Jersey, right? But it's kind of gone all over the place, I'm assuming, right? You didn't just you got your blue belt, right, in New Jersey?
I got all my belts from the same school. From
Oh,
Minnesota.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I made sure, like, and I tell people this about like, tell me if you're training another school because it's not a big deal. When I went to top team for 3 years, I trained like, that was when I probably trained the most. I trained like every day. I was a purple belt. And I told them, I was like, hey, I'm just here for a little bit. But I've gotten all my belts from Fernando. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, it's kind of weird. I'm there for 3 years, but I mean, it does take a long time for belts anyway. So they were like, you're terrible. You're not going to get promoted anyway.
Yeah.
But like, they were fine with it. Like, it takes a long time. But I was there for 3 years, and then I went back to Jersey.
So I've switched a couple of schools, since I first started, and I've gone through many seminars by now. Like, it's just the way he teaches, it just fucking makes sense to people, right? Like, he'll say corny little jokes here and there, and people, like the ones that do jujitsu, get it, and they laugh, and the other ones like, huh? What is that
I
supposed
witnessed. I
yeah.
actually witnessed that one of the couple classes that I went when the gym first opened up, of him saying like a joke, and all the people that are brand new are like, he's being serious, and
Yeah,
and all the jiu-jitsu guys are fucking laughing.
yeah.
It's because the people who do jujitsu know if they don't laugh at my jokes, I'm not going to promote them.
See how everybody just started laughing
know.
louder.
Yeah,
And then-
see, at the other guys were like, oh shit. I should've laughed.
And then he'll do like an armbar, because I'm usually the dummy. He'll do an armbar, and at the very end, he'll grab my finger and go like this, like the the finger bars. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then I'll fucking laugh quietly to myself, and then I'll look around the mat. Nobody
Nobody's
fucking
laughing.
even caught it.
Is that a real thing?
Nobody even like
Taking it a little too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to like make it fun. It's supposed to be fun.
And that's the thing, man. And these people are actually getting it. They're actually doing it, because I don't know if it's I do think that it's because the way he's teaching. I think that he does have really, really good students there as well. Like the ones that listen, they're not just like doing fuck shit. You know what I mean? They're not doing the tree, that word that you like, that starts with the F, ends with the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not doing any of that.
Uh-huh.
And then during the rolls, they'll actually try to do it. And when they're trying to do it, I know how to get out of it. I'm not like I'm literally not getting out of it for them to like actually do the move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For them like to reinforce.
Progress. Yeah.
Yeah, to reinforce, and people are getting it, man. They're like, I don't know what to do. I was like, bro, don't worry about it. Just do what we were doing today in class, and they'll do what they're doing in class, and it's actually working. And they're like, oh shit, this thing works. I'm like, yeah, it works. You know what I mean?
I was very fortunate that I was able to teach as much as I did in California. I taught every day, and you start to like, and eventually what I did is I got into like a theme for the week, and that helped the students. It would be guard pass week or something.
Yeah.
And I might show, if I would teach 4 classes that day, I would show the same thing all. And by the last class, I would like have it down like, okay, they'll understand it better this way if I break it down like this. But it's a lot of trial and error. When I first coached, right, I was, I tried my best, but I would talk too much. I would give too many details, and just expect people to remember everything. But I realized that like you learn better by doing stuff, and also like not everybody's gonna be doing that technique you're showing. You just got to give the gist of it and let people work it out for themselves. Right? If I sat there and explained like Americana for 45 minutes, like, okay, then I grab this and I grab it a 45-degree angle. If you make it 48, you go like, people would be out of their minds bored. But if you just give basic like points, they'll sit there and figure it out. They'll look around, figure it out. If I see people messing up something big for the technique, like it wouldn't definitely work if you did it that way, I would get them back together and explain again. Make sure you're doing this. So I was able to like fine tune it like that. Just make sure I got the major points for people.
And it's almost like he's talking to people like they're little kids, and he fucking actually works, and nobody like takes it as an offense. You know what I mean? It's like it really like is learning a different language.
When you're learning a brand new language, you got to teach them like a little kid,
That's
don't
right.
you? So
Yeah,
it's the same
totally.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I think the hard. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think is the hardest? Like breaking habits, like because you get wrestlers that come in and they're used to that, like balls to the wall. You know what I mean, and just going at it. Do you think is that harder than somebody that's like a completely blank slate?
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. You could have just a brand new dorky looking guy come in, but that guy's going to be the next world champ. Like, you never know. Some people's brains just work like that. You could have a wrestler come in, like he breaks the habit super easy. Another guy just can't stop getting to his stomach to not get pinned. But usually wrestlers transition pretty well to jiu-jitsu. If you give a good wrestler some basic submissions, they're like a terror. That's usually how it works. They're just so used because jiu-jitsu is more relaxed. And you can pick it up, but those wrestlers are just so used to it, especially the competition aspect. Like you're competing twice a week in wrestling during the season. Like you don't really get to do that in jiu-jitsu unless you got a lot of money. Like,
Yeah,
for all these
because each competition is like what, $100.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see jujitsu get integrated into schools, just like they do wrestling. That'd be cool to see.
I think it'll get there eventually, but I think that wrestling is such a big. He has such a stronghold, especially like Midwest.
I think
you know,
we'd
all
have
the
to see
Iowas
like
and
I
shit
mean,
like
jujitsu
that.
hasn't become an Olympic sport yet,
No.
so we'd
They're
have
talking
to
about it.
we'd
but-
have to see that happen first before I think they'd implement it in schools and stuff.
I mean, you did need breakdancing. That
Yeah,
was-
but that's not coming back ever again. I think
it was
the
too amazing.
Australia kangaroo
She
took care of that.
She
She
killed,
killed it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do have a bunch of sports, of course. That I mean, but
Olympics
I don't
have
know.
some funny sports.
yeah, definitely do.
The curling, really?
Yeah. I think jiu-jitsu will make it. I think it's going to make it to the Olympics eventually. But you have ADCC. It's not the Olympics, but ADCC is like best guy from Russia. That's
Yeah.
at least that's how it used to be. It was like that movie Bloodsport. It was like the best guy from America. We would have trials. Like you're the best. You won the ADCC trials, East Coast and West Coast. The guy from the East Coast goes. The guy from Mexico goes, and like these countries would compete against each other. It was like a movie. Now there's like, it's a little different now, but it's how it used to be. It was kind of like the Olympics.
Yeah,
It's still the best of the best if you win an ADCC.
So would you say jiu-jitsu is slowly becoming nogi jiu-jitsu? Would you say nogi jiu-jitsu is slowly becoming an American sport versus it being Brazilian, or do you think still Brazil has a pretty big strong foothold on a jiu-jitsu market?
I'm back and forth on that. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I'm still traditional. I respect the Brazilians for bringing that here, but I mean, if you know the story, like the Japanese bought it here, and like all the jiu-jitsu moves that you see, they're not invented by the Brazilians. Sorry, guys. All right. These are old judo techniques. Like you can go and watch these videos on YouTube now from like the 20s of guys doing omoplatas. When you get to the ground in judo, it's newaza. You get into like the ground part, and you got like a little bit of time to tap them out. And all these submissions were there. You see triangles, you see kimuras, you see bow and arrow chokes. Like these were moves before they got to Brazil. But the Brazilians, what they did is they just concentrated on the newaza aspect. It was just start on the ground and do all the ground stuff and just stay there until someone gets tapped out.
Which made it a little more.
Yeah, it's like less. I mean, there's still throws and stuff, but the whole idea is just get it to the ground and tap them out. You know, there was no like time. It wasn't like, okay, in judo, like if you guys stop going, all right, you guys stand back up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like scramble. Okay,
I think there's like a time limit that they give, which I didn't know that about judo until I got into jujitsu. That they gave them a certain allotted time, basically, to pull off submissions after getting to the ground. If they didn't get ippon or whatever it was.
Yeah, ippon is the
like the pen.
Yeah.
It means pen.
Basically.
yeah, and then in sambo, ippon is the 4 points, right? Like you take somebody down and they hit the ground on a mat with their shoulders. That's 4 points. It doesn't stop, but in judo it stops. So they concentrate on throws a lot because it's much easier to get somebody to their shoulders than to tap them out.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean they still don't practice the submissions. They still do.
Part of the sport.
Yeah. But then Russians took that and they made it their own. You know, they're like, okay, we're gonna get rid of the pajama pants. We're gonna put little shorts on, and we're gonna wear wrestling shoes. You know, and then they're like, all right, why don't we make a combat out of it and add the punches into it? So I guess Russians were probably the first MMA fighters, really, at the end of the day, right? I mean, if you look at it that way, because the sambo, well, maybe Vale too, though.
Vale Tudo, yeah. I mean, they were fighting in their little underwear in Brazil back in the day.
Yeah.
You watch his videos on the beach, like the Gracie's fighting people on the beach in his underpants. It's kind of funny.
I've always heard the stories of them just like the gyms basically going back and forth and fighting a lot in Brazil.
It's called dojo storming. That's
Yeah.
what they call it. You just
Yeah.
go to like challenge.
Yeah.
And they call it the Gracie challenge too, which is kind of funny. It's kind of weird to think about. Imagine like
Reminds me of
me walking around to these other.
It just reminds me of Karate Kid. Like
Yeah, totally.
Well, there's
Yeah.
the thing, and for a while, I think those jiu-jitsu guys would just like, there would be like 20, 30 of them out of one school. They're just go into a fucking nightclub and beat the shit out of everyone in the nightclub. Like that was a thing for them. Like they would just storm a nightclub. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just
Pretty
like-
funny.
think about it. It's like, oh, what are you guys doing tonight? Oh, let's go fuck up this nightclub.
The audacity. It's
Yeah.
like,
Just go and armbar everyone.
Yeah.
This, we're gonna make sure everyone has no meniscus when they leave this club. That's our goal.
it's a funny thing to do. Like walking into like a martial arts gym and be like, your stuff is trash. Watch this.
Fight me now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would you ever do it?
that'd be crazy, man. That just reminds me of all those guys, like those muscle heads that go into gyms and get fucked up by the purple belt girls. Like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, totally. They make jokes about it now. Like guy dojo storms and he just gets beat up
Yeah.
by like some little girl. Girls are good, man.
They're technically sound, man.
Yeah, you have to be. It's like kids, you know. Guys will muscle through things if they can't really get it,
Yeah.
but kids and girls like they kind of more have to have the technique like perfect. So
We have it like in our like a trial of elimination process of when we're doing stuff like, okay, this technique, and part of that trial elimination is, okay, let me try strength,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? Versus they don't have that in their repertoire as an option, you
Yeah.
know. So
if
that's why.
something's not working, like you got to switch to something else.
Yeah.
Do you
No.
think do you think they throw weight around and strength around when they're like girl against girl?
Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
100%. That's when the playing field evens out. I mean, it's the same thing like going against a guy the same size as you and same experience as you.
And there's
Yeah.
some big girls too.
I was thinking the same
Cool.
thing, bro.
I mean, you get a Gabby Garcia,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's some big girls out there,
Jink.
bro.
Did you see Craig's new video?
Yes.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I only like black guys.
Oh,
And then he goes
I was
and fucking
cracking
does
up.
the
It's just a little still
rubber
of him.
mask.
What?
Oh, it's so good.
I'll pull it up. Hold on.
Is it on Instagram or
Yeah,
something?
it's
I got
amazing.
you. Hold on.
Fucking Craig Jones, man. But he kind of like he went a little crazy with that, you know, CJI and stuff like that, and then he just kind of fell off.
See if we can get sound there.
Like really, stop call me. For the last time, I only like black guys, man. Only black guys.
The Craig Jones.
What is it? Ai! Ai, caralho! Ai, caralho! Para! Oh my god!
That's so fucking crazy. You know what's funny? Actually, I did that to one of our friends today.
Dreams
do come true.
For like a filter.
No, so I was editing some photos that I had to finish up and that I was doing for a friend, and while I was sitting there in like the editing software, I started going through like pictures that I have, right? And I have I have like this album that's basically full of funny
Who's
ass
Randy
pictures
Weaver?
of all my friends that I use for like my stream deck, like these little macros that I put, and I put all their faces on the buttons that I use and shit. Anyways, I was looking at one and I was like, let me see if I can blackface him.
Wow, that's funny, especially this day and age. Can't do that with it.
And so I pulled it off. I pulled
That's
it
so
off and
good.
posted it in the group chat.
That's so good.
And he can do this shit too. You know what I mean? What are they gonna tell you?
I don't care
No.
who can do it. Whatever.
You can do
It's
it.
just
You
a
know,
friend
you
joke,
know-
anyway. It's not like
yeah.
I'm outputting it in the wild. Just in
Randy
the group
Weaver.
chat.
I don't know
alright?
what
It's
you
safe.
mean. I don't know what
That's how
Randy
you know
Weaver
who'd delete.
means.
Whoever gets offended. Okay,
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
out of the group chat.
We actually did a mass ban recently in our whole group chat. Like
They
that.
don't
We're
like
getting
it.
offended.
Yeah, no, not just
People are
annoying
too-
people.
yeah.
Just annoying. There's people that were like, "Why are they here?" And so we just
Yeah,
kicked
yeah.
like 10 people
'Cause
out.
I think it notifies them too. It's like,
Yeah, it
"You've
definitely
been
does.
deleted."
Yeah, it does.
Get lost.
It definitely does.
But
Sometimes it has to happen. Have you ever dealt with that at a gym? People getting. I mean, I'm sure. I know Jay has heard his fair share of people getting removed out of a gym, but
Yeah, man, there's cancers in there. Like if you don't get rid of them, that spreads. Like some guys like a problem, like hurting people or just being a creep. Like it's important to like address it and get it out of there because to keep that one guy, you might lose like 10, 20 people if he just keeps acting the way he's acting.
yeah.
We had a few of those. We had to be like, dude, you gotta stop or you can't be here.
what would you say the biggest challenges were as a coach in the beginning and now versus now?
I mean, nerves. Public speaking is always a thing. I don't have a problem with it now, but I mean, especially in front of kids, like you got to be careful with what you say.
Yeah.
You know, if I mess up once, like they won't let me live it down.
Right.
You know, if I say like the word fart once,
Yeah.
like they'll just spend the rest of the class laughing. It's the adults too, though.
Yeah.
You know. But it's funny, like
It's kind of funny because today I said Wet Willie, and they're like, "What do you do next? What do you do next?" And then at the end, somebody goes, "Wet Willie."
yeah, they're learning so much. So proud.
Oh man. How was that like challenge at the beginning of overcoming kind of basically disciplining a group of kids? Because you're basically it's just like a teacher at a school, right? I mean, in like a normal school. Right?
In 2024, bro, I don't know how y'all do it. I'd be going around.
Just whopping heads.
No, it's funny if you get control of the class, and they see how everyone else is acting, they'll straighten out quick. But if they see it's like a clown show in there and like a zoo, like they'll act like that too.
Yeah.
But if they come in, like the crowd is like a big influencer of how people act. Like if you walk in and everybody's like sitting straight in the wall, like you're gonna be like, oh, this is what this is.
Yeah, that's how we gotta act.
Yeah. This like so they kind of fall in line as long as you keep control of the class.
I'm sure there's always those outliers though that come in and they don't care about the surroundings.
It's
They're kind of
fine.
just in a.
I have like my mentality is if you don't want to be here, go sit outside. But I have 20 people here, 20 kids here that want to be here and want to learn. Like, if you don't want to help them learn, go sit outside. Like, go sit off the mat. And they sit off the mat for a little bit, and they're just like, well, this is boring. I want to go back in.
Yeah.
I'm like, you
'Cause
ready?
everyone's having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's having fun. I'm like, they're like, okay, I'll act right. I mean, it took me a while to, like, to get it down, how to react to kids, how to teach kids, how to discipline kids. But, I mean, I have a bunch of tricks.
Yeah, I'm sure you
So-
have to build them up at this
Mhm.
point.
What would you say? Because my friends always ask me. They all have like little kids, and they're always asking me like, "Hey, can we put them in jiu-jitsu? Hey, can we put them in jiu-jitsu?" What would you say is a good age to put them in jiu-jitsu? Is it more like if they're like more comprehension and the following directions is more important than the age?
I actually have one rule. If they can stand on the line and listen, I'll teach them. But if I got a group of kids standing on the line and this kid goes and runs off into the corner and I got to stop what I'm doing, go grab him, like stand on the line, these are the 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds. But usually 5 is when they stop doing that stuff. They're like actually listening and watching. But also I've had 8-year-olds act like 4-year-olds and
Right.
4-year-olds act like 8-year-olds.
Right.
So it depends on the kid. But I tell the parents, I'm like, hey, just give them a little bit. Like I don't want to because some kids, you'll have to sacrifice teaching the whole class just to take care of one
Right.
kid, and you can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
Yeah. And as you say that, like the environment thing plays a factor. I remember when I started martial arts at 11, I went to an MMA school, so it was everything, and it was exactly like that. When you walked in, everyone was in line.
Mhm.
You came in late, your ass was doing push-ups.
Yeah.
You forgot a piece of your uniform, your ass was doing push-ups.
Mhm.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Making everything like have a very clear-cut structure
Yeah.
that the kids, and something not too complicated
Yeah.
that kids can follow, but something that gives them guidelines on do this, do that, understand when this needs to be done.
And it's stuff they apply to life. Like, I used to. I'll get back into it. We're still growing, but if a kid came in late, he was doing 10 push-ups on his knuckles, and they were like, the parents would blame like, "Oh, I'll do it." I was like, "No, man. Like, what if he has a job someday? You can't show up late."
Doesn't
Like,
matter
Get on
the
time. Start
excuse
getting,
is, yeah.
So what's the biggest thing that you've gotten from the parents where they're like, "Oh my God, why is he treating my kid this way?" Or like making him do this, making him do that? Like, have you ever gotten anything like that? Or majority of the parents, like, they're taking them to martial arts, they understand that the discipline is going to come along with it. Basically, what I'm asking is, did you ever have to check a parent and be like, "Yo"?
I think maybe twice in 16 years of teaching kids. Maybe twice. I've had a parent come up and be like, I don't think the punishment fit the crime, and I don't think you should have did this. And I had to explain like why I did that. Like, I don't know. I've anything I do, I'll justify. Like, if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. but I have done that too. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. Like one time,
If you want, you can put your drink here, by the way.
thank you.
This little table, so you don't have to keep moving.
Couch is gonna be covered in coffee. It's design. What was I saying?
Yeah, the
kids-
checking parents. Yeah.
One time, it was like totally my mistake because kids, they care about three things in jiu-jitsu. They care about who's older, who's taller, and who has more stripes. Right? Stripes are huge. It's like, I have three. How many do you have?
Yeah.
And like you can't mess around. You can't like joke about like I'll give you a stripe and then like not do it. Like it's like their world. And like one time I was just like, I'll give you a stripe someday, and I didn't know. And the kids like went home and like cried.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the mom like they were so upset, like they thought they were getting stripes. And I was like, you're right. I shouldn't joke about that. And like I apologize to the kids. Like I'll admit when I'm wrong. Like I have no problems with it. But they're also like parents understand they're there for discipline, like, and they appreciate it.
I had a similar situation happen to me actually as a kid. We had testing,
Mhm.
and then I went through the whole test, and then they did promotions like the following week on the Friday and gave everyone their stripes and all that stuff. And I remember as he's giving out the certificate, I'm like, man, my last name's Asensio. Starts with an A. I know I'm coming out of the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Never said my name, never
Yeah.
called me up. And so I went to the back, bawling tears
Yeah,
and
crush your
everything,
world.
right?
Yeah.
And the owner of the school had just for some reason my certificate hadn't got signed,
Mm-hmm.
and so he didn't get it,
Yeah.
and so it was a mistake,
Mhm.
right? Bro, that shit broke my
Yeah,
heart.
kids will quit over that.
Shit broke my heart.
Mhm.
I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
I remember wanting to quit. I remember there's this little ramp that went from the main section to the locker room. I remember I was just walking up that ramp, leaving class, because it was at the end of class, just bawling,
Yeah.
bawling, crying.
Like you don't want to make it a chore for the parents to like, let's go. Like I don't want to go. Like you don't want. But once they're there, they're having fun. But
Yeah.
I try not even to get to that point. I want them to be like, yeah, let's go to jiu-jitsu. You know.
There was I can say as a kid I definitely was not like yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
All the time. There was definitely times I did
Yeah,
want to
totally.
go.
Yeah.
But it was it got to a point where it almost seemed like work sometimes because it was
Mhm.
3 days a week straight at this time, like
Yeah.
you know, that gets like that much structure kind of gets a little annoying for a kid sometimes.
And you're a kid too. Like so I was 14. Like I still wanted to watch Saturday morning cartoons, man.
Yeah.
It's the only time the good cartoons were on. It's Saturday morning when I was a kid. Like X-Men was on.
When I was a kid, they still were as well. If it makes you feel any better.
Okay, good.
I had to still like
So how do you
align
do the
my schedule with watching the new one.
But-
I remember that.
I got a phone call like, where are you? It's Saturday, and like, but like I have a saying now. It's like you can hate me now and thank me later, because like I appreciate it so much now that he wasn't like, no, it's okay, stay home and watch cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, I went every Saturday morning.
now? How do you deal with that? Like, do you have like a special, like, let's say every 6 months, every 8 months, I'm doing like a promotion, or how does that work with the kids?
With the kids, if they're really ready, I'll just give it to them. Like if they're just tapping everybody out in the class, like I'll throw a stripe on them. But I like to wait till after a competition, because we would compete every month, 2 months, and for kids it's like a stripe every 3 months that equals a belt a year, and there's a lot of kids belts, so they move up much faster. So it's like
Right.
okay, I'm progressing.
Yeah, because they do have a bunch of like gray, black, and all
Even
kinds
green,
of levels,
right?
So
all the way to green. But can you pull up the kids' belt?
there's
Belts?
a
See the
lot.
babe J?
Yeah, the kids do have ton of belts. Like, I didn't even think about that.
So it would work out
Yeah.
because a kid would go compete, they want a medal, awesome. Like
Yeah,
they
see,
they got
see this
yeah,
like
there's
here.
a lot. We didn't use all those. Once we got past gray, we used all the gray colors. Where's it at? Yeah, we used like white, white, dark gray. We use those, and even yellow will like go into like the white stripe a little bit. But after that, it's like they just get a new color.
Yeah.
It's like orange and green.
Yeah, because to each color there's a black,
Yeah.
white, and solid, right?
There's a lot. Because kids, they want.
They need the
progression.
recognition,
But after a tournament's the best time because, like, so say they win, cool. Like, oh, I did awesome, and I got a stripe. If they lose, it's scary getting out there, man. It's scary for adults, You know, hey, go fight this kid in front of everybody. Like, no matter what, they get, even if they didn't win a medal, like, hey, man, like, it's not a medal, but hey, man, you're brave and you got out there. Like, it's still like, and it also, like, I don't care, call it participation trophy, whatever you want, but it kind of pushes kids to compete more. Like, no matter what, even if a kid's like super scared, like, well, I got a stripe. Like, it's not every time, but no matter what you, if you're competing, you're getting better.
It's
You should-
gambling for kids.
I mean, it's also. I mean, and
I would give them money.
you know,
for
and
if they got a takedown,
yeah.
I would bring $2 bills to tournaments. Like 2 for a takedown.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's bounty.
You know, with kids, I mean,
Would they know about this, or did you tell them ahead of time, or you were just like puppet?
Yeah, I'd
Like-
give it, just
Yeah.
hand it over like, hey, you got a takedown. There's 2.
with kids, I can see the whole participation trophy thing, which I'm not. I don't
Well, they didn't
agree
get a
with.
medal.
But
They still cry.
right,
Because they wanted a medal.
right, but it's different. Letting them kind of start to learn that even in failure, you still learn,
Yeah,
right, and you
yeah.
still progress, and you still get better through failure.
And
right?
every tournament, I say, get a piece of paper, win or lose, name 3 things you need to work on. So no matter what, like, they're learning something. If they lost, like, don't get choked, or get out of arm bars. If they win, like, there's still 3 things you know you need to work on.
And like for Naga competition that happens here, I don't know. Do you have Naga? You probably have
Yeah,
Naga over there.
Yeah.
They give you a sword. Like,
I-
can you imagine how cool that is to
awesome.
get a fucking sword,
Yeah.
the first place win, and get a
You know,
badass katana?
I remember when I was doing martial arts as a kid at that school that they were getting ready for Naga, and then even like Rodolfo had a couple friends that went over there to compete in Orlando when they were doing it. And I don't know, man. I'll be honest. I've always just been so scared of doing actual competition.
It's
like
scary, dude.
I have a large fear of that, especially in like
It's a long day. It's scary, man. But like,
But this is the time for you to do it.
you
know
know,
what I
it
mean?
makes your jiu-jitsu better no matter what. I've competed a lot, and every time I've learned something about myself, and it's like, okay, I got to work on this. It just smacks you harder if you get tapped out with something in a competition. You're like, okay, I don't want to get armbarred like that again.
yeah.
Like, it just sticks with you.
I like to use a lot of video game references. It's like playing ranked play. Like you actually get to test your skills. Everybody's trying their hardest. You have to try your hardest, and
Yeah.
you lose, and you're gonna know what you did wrong that match. So.
Well, there's a February. There's a competition. 20,
Yeah, we're gonna go.
20 something.
You know when I won my first Naga? 1999.
Shit, I wasn't even born, and neither was
Yeah.
Miggy.
We drove to Virginia and did a Naga.
How old
Like,
were you then? You were
We're 15?
15. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. 15.
You were in 1984.
They give you a
83.
sword back then too.
No, I got a huge trophy. Like up to my waist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Naga's badass because they give you like belts and fucking.
Oh, I have like a few Naga belts.
Yeah, they give you the swords,
my
the
prized
belts, like
possessions.
yeah. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, they're awesome. They figured they've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, Jits King will come around our area, but Naga is always in like Lakeland or
Did
things
they
like.
changed the belt? I gotta do Naga again.
So I need the new one.
Yeah.
When is where is it? When and where is it?
They come around.
No. The February one that you're talking about.
It's in Tampa. It's called Grappling Industries.
Oh,
They would
Grappling
come
Industries. Yeah, I've gone to that one
They
as
would
well.
come to San Diego.
Yeah, I've gone to Grappling Industries. Actually, is very organized. I've been
They're
to that.
good.
It's super organized.
I
yeah.
mean, geez, back in the day with Naga, they would have the worst PA. This is just tournaments back in the day. There was no cell phones, right? All you hear is this all day. Eight. You're like, was that me? You're just sitting around, and your whole day is just like, did you call me? No. Okay. Did you call me? No. Okay. It's everybody.
So what led to the transition from New Jersey to San Diego, or was there something else in between as well?
So I went from New Jersey. I did law school in Orlando. I was there for 3 years. I got back to New Jersey and I passed the bar, and like I just really didn't like being a lawyer. I like waking up every day like that, something that you really just don't like, and it's no way to live. So I was the only reason I actually like went into law school. I was like, okay, I'll make good money, and then I can open up a gym and do what I love. And then I had an epiphany. I'm just like, I could just do what I love. Like I don't gotta wait for all that. Like,
Yeah.
You get one life, and You know, you should spend it kind of making yourself fulfilled. So I didn't even know that San Diego was like the mecca of jujitsu. I really didn't even know at the time. I just knew like I wanted to change. I wanted to get out of there, and I visited San Diego and for a week, and I like loved it. And
Did you know anyone before moving out there? Have any? No,
No.
just did it.
funny story. So I worked like a nightclub in Atlantic City where I grew up. Like after like at nights, like uh on weekends we would like.
This
huge
is like
night-
early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about early 2000 nightclubs were a big thing.
Yeah.
Right now, like you go to Tampa, there are a couple of nightclubs.
Mhm.
Back in early 2000s, there was a nightclub literally on every block.
Yeah. And Atlantic City is a gambling town, so I was like in charge of the door, and I would make like $500 a night because people were just gambling. They win money. Like I don't want to wait in line. They would just hand me $100. Like it was a great job, but I met these guys that I used to just let in, and I totally forgot about the conversation. And they were like, "We're gonna move out to San Diego. We're starting a business out there." And I was like, "Cool." Like I moved out to San Diego. I didn't have any job lined up. I just knew like I'll find something. I'll figure it out. All right, and maybe I'll start a gym out there. And I got out there, and like that week, they were like, "Hey man, hope you're good. We're out here in San Diego." I was like, "Me too. It's crazy." And they were like, they would buy old cell phones and resell them to like China. It was a crazy business, but like I had a job, so I was good. And then I wanted to train, and I walked into Victory, and I walked.
Why
up-
victory? Why victory?
Somebody
Why not?
told me about it.
Okay.
The guys I worked for, they told me about it. They're like, "Oh, those guys are cool." And I walked in and I saw Dean Lister, who was like a legend, like a legend. Like I knew about him. I was like, "Is that Dean Lister?" And he's like showing a leg lock, and I knew I needed those. Yeah, and I was like, "I'll just sign up." And that was 16 years ago.
Can you tell the story of you, Costa Rica, and Dean Lister, and how you were Dean Lister's dummy for a week, and how that worked out for you?
Yeah, like the guy is the leg lock legend. Like if you talk about leg locks, like usually Dean Lister comes up. He won 3 ADCCs, like leg locking people, because it was like a cheat code. Like he was just super good at them, and those guys didn't really work them that much. So I mean, he's a legend. So he would get invited to seminars.
And he's super fucking intelligent.
Yeah,
He's extremely
he
smart.
Speaks 5 languages, and
Yeah, he speaks a bunch of languages. Like he's intelligent as shit.
he's a man. Shout out to Dean. It's my big
Yeah.
brother. But we went to Costa Rica because he did a seminar. He was like, "You want to come?" And I didn't know I was getting myself into. That I had to be the uke. And uke is someone who has the move done to them for a week straight of him just leg locking me. And like by the last day, they're like, "We're gonna go walk on the beach." I was like, "I can't walk."
Oh shit!
If he just holds you,
Yeah.
like I could not imagine him applying pressure to tap you out. Because he'll just and he'll sit there and talk like, "Okay, you grab like this," and like it feels like your foot's gonna explode. Like that's how strong the guy is, just naturally strong. Like, I mean, he was the best. It's crazy to be like the best at that. Like such a crazy, like complicated sport. If I was the best at stamp collecting, that would be cool. Well, this guy's the best at jujitsu. Like for a long time, if you talked about the best in the world, like his name would come up. So it was a pleasure and honor getting to work with that guy for so long.
He was your coach that gave you your stripes, right?
Yeah,
Basically on your-
he all my degrees he gave me, him and Jocko.
You talking about the black belt?
If I
I got my black belt from Fernando.
Mm-hmm. No,
Actually-
black belt stripes, right?
No, not the degrees. No, Dean gave me those.
if I'm not mistaken, you told a story also about you getting to Victory and not being very familiar with leg locks. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they weren't allowed. They were
Were-
considered dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, until like brown belt. Even in tournaments, they weren't allowed. So we just never worked them. So I got to Victory in San Diego, and these guys were working on them. I was a brown belt when I got to Victory, and then I flew back home to get my black belt. But I was a brown belt, and my first class, I got footlocked by a blue belt, and I was like, "Oh, great!" Like I felt like a white belt again
Yeah.
because I just didn't know. And then like gradually, I learned just like you hide your arms so you don't get arm barred. You know, you kind of stop doing this pretty quickly.
Right.
I
Same
just-
thing with
the
your legs.
Same thing with your legs. You just learn how to keep them to yourself. You know, So that was what I first learned, just how to avoid them a little bit, and then I started being offensive with them and attacking them. They're a huge part of my jiu-jitsu. Yeah, they complete like the package.
Do you
I think.
would you say you'd rather pass or play guard?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm
Whatever's easy.
I don't
Whatever's
know,
available.
I used to it's kind of funny. It's Jeff Glover's story. He got there and I was a black belt, but I still had the mindset I got to be on top all the time. I got to wrestle you and I got to be on top all the time. And like you're going from your knees, and it's not really that realistic anyway when you're fighting from your knees. But I would never just sit down and play guard. You know, I would just sit there until like you got on your back. I would sit on my knees. And one day he was like, "Does your guard suck or something?" And it just hit me. I was like, "Damn, maybe it does." And he's like, "Why don't you ever sit down and play guard?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And now I do it all the time. My guard is like I'm fine everywhere. Like that's how like I want to be. I want to be fine everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't want my breathing to change, no
But do-
matter where.
Do you find it when you play guard for too long, you kind of like have to come back and brush up on your standing up, and then when you played stand up for too long, now you got to go back and brush up on your guard.
Well, if your guard's great, you can sweep people and you're on top anyway. You know, so you're still playing that top game, but you're just learning how to get on top. You know, like I think Marcelo said one time he came for a seminar, and he's like, the only reason I'm on bottom is because I want to be on top. You know, so I'm just looking for sweeps so I can get on top of you. Like, once in a while I'll get a submission from guard, but I'm always looking for sweeps to get on top. You know, that's how it should be. You should be looking to sweep. That's what guard's for. Sweep and submit.
You're right. And the more you do those sweeps, the more they become like I used to hate the scissor sweep. The most basic sweep. I used to hate it. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's my bread and butter. I love
Yeah.
that sweep.
Because you get them from pretty much every fucking position. You
Mhm.
get them from any position. Like you just gotta time it right.
Mhm.
You know? And he didn't click until he started clicking. You know, just
Mhm.
and then I'll get on top and I'm like, all right, they can't do shit when I'm on top. All right, let's go back on the back. Let's do it all over again.
I've had stuff like that where like I just wasn't getting it at first. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this in the trash, and then all of a sudden I just started doing the technique, like rolling. So like, oh, I'm mad in this now. Like I'm gonna use this because it works.
Oh shit.
And a lot of that shit works. Like if once you do it correct, it works. Like in the beginning, none of that shit works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but this worked in a practice. Nope,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't working.
That's why I have the guys. And I learned this from Glover, like the positional training, where everybody lines up on the wall. And we never used to do this. Everybody wants to roll, you know. But it's like boxing, you know. People want to spar, but you got to hit targets too, like sharpen yourself up. So the positional training where you start on the back or you start in guard, and you just have to pass guard. Okay, next person comes out. Pass the guard. Next person comes out. You know, it's just you get all these different body types, and just all you're doing is passing. You know, I think it's a good way to train. If you're not doing that, you should.
Yeah, the positional training, the
Mhm.
Shark Tank, right? The proverbial Shark Tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
you might
works.
be in the whole time, but new people.
And then, do you agree with the idea what Joe Rogan put out there is like get as many white belts and blue belts and just strangle and submit them as many times as you can to get used to the submissions more than anything. Because like you get somebody at your level or a little bit
Yeah.
lower level, you're not really pulling any of those submissions, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of pushback.
Mm-hmm. There's pros and cons. Like there's rolling with anybody, it's gonna be different. Like sometimes you have to roll with those brand new guys, so you know what it's like to like. Okay, if I get in a fight on the street, like this guy's just gonna be falling all over the place and being spastic.
And they do, and they
Yeah.
do fall all over the place.
Mhm. And
Like
gotta
you
learn
know,
how
the
to
reason
control
I
that.
have this nice little mark on my face is because someone's nail was too fucking long.
Yeah, you'll get injured way faster with a brand new white belt than somebody at a high level who knows
Yeah.
how to control.
You ever seen those reels when they're like, you know, they'll ask every single belt, you know, they'll come up to the white belt and be like, who do you think is the most dangerous person on the mat? White belts, the black belts.
Yeah.
And then it'll go to the blue belt, the purple belt, the brown belt, the black belt. Who do you think the most dangerous person on the mat? White belt.
White belt. Yeah, totally. Yeah. They just can't help it. They're like panicking. Like it's something you're not used to.
And it feels weird too when you're getting controlled by someone and you look at their face and they're like haven't even broke a sweat yet.
Yeah,
You know? So
totally.
it's frustrating.
But I tell people like hey man, this is what you're gonna be. You just have to
Yeah,
show up.
you just
Like,
gotta keep coming.
there's nothing special about
Joe,
me.
who are you talking about? Joe said, "Leave me alone." Who are you talking about, Joe? Joe, right there. Joe Chase said, "Leave me alone." Who are you talking about, Joe?
Oh yeah.
All right, I think that's it for today, guys. Adam's got an early morning tomorrow. We all got early mornings tomorrow. Actually, all of us got work. All of us have jobs to go to.
Yeah, I'm driving to Tampa. So
Yeah. Appreciate you coming in today, Adam.
No, it's a
really,
pleasure.
really,
yeah.
really appreciate
we do it
it.
again.
We have to
We
do
do
it
it again when
for
you have
sure.
more time. All of us.
I hope I'll see you soon. But dude, you've been so helpful, man. Like really.
No, I mean, I like doing it. I don't like coaching, but I don't mind like individually, like when I'm helping everyone. I like that.
We're in the
Coaching,
process
I
of
don't like.
growing. Like it's just gonna grow and grow. But you've been super helpful, like with the new guys. And
I like doing that.
yeah, I appreciate you.
It's just so far, man.
It's so.
All right, Joe.
For me, it's
See you
far.
next
And
week. Bro.
real quick, check out Adam's book, guys. Adam's got an amazing book. If you want to could pull that up, Mickey, show them real quick.
The ABCs of Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Adam's got a great book, guys. Check that out.
And especially
Learn
if
a
you
little
have
bit about
kids, this is a really good it's literally what it is. It's an ABC of jiu-jitsu, right? So it's an awesome book.
But I mean, I've seen some of these before, and
this is the
some
best
of them
one
are a
so
little
far.
more for like really little kids, like A for armbar, and that's the whole page, right? This one's a little more in depth, right?
Well, this
And
teaches you.
It's for like I've had people send me videos of I'm teaching my kid to read with this book because like all the letters with the name every letter like Americana, but like are you like the A of like so the kids are reading it.
Yeah.
So, this makes an A sound.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. But also it's like I don't know, adults read it too. Like it's
When
Yeah.
we have,
jiu-jitsu.
when
And
we
if
have
you're one of those
on-
adults that picks up, it's like it's not interesting. It's not meant for you, dummy.
Yeah.
when we
True
have you on
story.
again, I'd like to hear some more about how that book came to be and stuff. So
Oh,
we'll
thank
definitely have to have you on again, brother, if you
Mhm.
wouldn't mind. So
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome.
yeah, appreciate you coming again, man.
By the way,
We'll-
guys, just a quick thing. Thursday is the Turkey Day. We might not have an episode.
yeah,
Most
probably
likely not gonna have
We're
it. 'Cause
probably not gonna.
everyone
be here.
got families
We're gonna
and,
be.
and
I'm
things
gonna
to
be
give.
eating right now at this
Yeah.
time on Thursday.
So not Thursday, but Tuesday we have another guest for you. And then we'll schedule something again with Adam where we can talk a little more. And then we still have. Should I say anything about our kickboxing coach?
Yeah,
We're super close. Yeah, we're super close to
We having
hammering out
Dorian
the
on,
date
yeah.
to get Dorian in here. It's gonna be a special episode on a weekend, But
Not that yours wasn't special. Don't worry, you're special.
Can I do ASMR real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah, go
just
for
like Ozzy. Yeah, I can hear it. It's perfect. It's perfect. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys next week because, like I said, Thursday probably won't be on. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Adam, again. See y'all later.